Hi, I'm Robert Scheinfeld, and I'd like to officially welcome you to the Busting Loose from the Business Game website. This website was designed in order to support the initial birth, if you will, and growth of my latest book, Busting Loose from the Business Game. I wrote this book in order to offer an opportunity for other players of the business game who are interested in having a radically different experience of the world of business. And it doesn't matter if you're an owner, it doesn't matter if you're an employee, it doesn't matter if you're temporarily unemployed and want to be an owner or an employee. If you love playing the business game, but you've kind of had it with the challenges, with the difficulty in playing the game, with the difficulty in winning, with the difficulty of staying ahead of all of the forces that appear to be outside of you that can yank you down or limit you or undercut the best laid plans, so to speak. If you're struggling with playing the business game and you've kind of had it and you're fed up with playing it the way you have been playing it, and you'd like to discover a radically different way to play, then Busting Loose from the Business Game may offer you exactly the kind of opportunity that you've been looking for and perhaps dreaming about. Now, why do I say radically different way of playing? Because that's what Busting Loose from the Business Game will invite you to do. If you found your way here and you're looking for some new magic bullet or whiz-bang technique or strategy in the area of sales, marketing, management, leadership, or finance, you came to the wrong place. That is not what Busting Loose from the Business Game is about. Busting Loose from the Business Game is about creating a radical shift in your perspective, in your consciousness, how you look at who you are, how you look at what you're doing here, how you look at what the business game is really all about, and how you look at living and moving from day to day as you're working to create a successful business. It's a complete about face. It is a radically different way of looking at things. There's a term in business that's called thinking outside the box, and it refers to creativity and innovation in the way that you're thinking about things. I refer to the Busting Loose from the Business Game and to my Busting Loose work as dynamiting the box. That's how extreme and different and radical it is. Now, why do I keep harping on this point about how different it is and radical is and dynamite the box and all this stuff? Because if you're like me, and you may not be, but if you're like me, then you've been playing the business game for a while, and you've tried everything that you can think of. You've followed the advice of experts, you've studied, you've gotten yourself educated, you've done your best to optimize these 5 power centers of business, or whichever one is your specific area of focus: sales, marketing, management, leadership, or finance. Tried to get them all optimized and have the most effective strategies to help you achieve your goals in business, but you haven't been able to do it. And when I say you haven't been able to do it, what I mean is you either have specific goals for your business or your career that you have not achieved yet. You have had goals for your business or your career and you've achieved them temporarily, but then lost it. You weren't able to hold on to that level of success that you wanted. Or you had specific goals for your business or your career, you were able to achieve them, you were able to hold on to them, perhaps grow it beyond what your original goal was, but you found yourself paying an extraordinary price for doing it. And the extraordinary price might be stress, it might be lack of free time, it might be relationship issues because you're working all the time or you're not present when you're home or wherever in social relationships with family or friends or significant other or whatever. A health or a wellness issue, whatever it might be. These are the things that I struggled with. These were the things that I always struggled with for decades. And it didn't matter how hard I tried. It didn't matter how badly I wanted it to be different. It didn't matter how many different whiz-bang, latest, cutting-edge strategies or techniques I applied. It didn't matter how much intelligence, time, money, and energy I threw at it all. I just couldn't achieve the overall big picture, what I now call true success that I wanted, which is also sometimes called having it all. Not just the money, not just the business success, but lifestyle, happiness, joyfulness, relationships working, health and wellness, the whole package, everything that we all want wrapped up in one nice little package. I just wasn't able to do it. Now, the interesting thing is At the time of this recording, I'm 52 years old. And when I was 12, a series of conversations that I had with my grandfather, who I'll tell you about in a minute, planted a seed that said, there's a different way to do it. There's an alternative. You can play the business game in a radically different way and get radically different kinds of results and really, in fact, have it all and even go beyond even the most optimistic what having it all means by tapping different sources of power and wisdom, and let's call it strategy. I grew up with an extraordinary grandfather whose name was Aaron Scheinfeld. He turned an idea into one of the world's largest and most successful companies, Manpower, the world's largest temporary help service, a Fortune 150 company that last year, at the time of this recording, did in excess of $18 billion in sales. My grandfather was an extraordinary man who was talented across many different disciplines, not just business and money. And he was one of the happiest people, the most joyful people, and had one of the most incredibly free lifestyles of anybody that I've ever known, no matter how successful they may have been or how much money they may have had. And he started talking to me at a very young age about the fact that there's the visible world and the invisible world, and that most people think that the power is in the visible world, which is what I referred to as the 5 power centers of business earlier. But he said to me, that's not where the real power is. The real power is in the invisible world. And if you can map out the power sources in the invisible world and tap them, you can create extraordinary results in everything that is attributed to me: lifestyle, happiness, free time, flexibility, gigantic success in terms of business and money and net worth and the whole deal. All of it I attribute to my ability to be able to map out this invisible world and be able to tap the power sources there. And so he planted the seed in my mind at a very young age, but then died shortly thereafter before he could really finish teaching me how to actually do it. And so as I was playing the business game, as I was the old business game, as I was repeating these patterns, as I could just never create the kind of true success that I really wanted, simultaneously I was searching. I was on what I call the treasure hunt of the century to be able to figure out these invisible world power sources that my grandfather had talked to me about. And by the way, he said to me, as you grow up, when you get older, you're going to hear about a lot of things that sound like they're talking about this, invisible world power sources. You're going to hear about the universal laws, and you're going to hear about the unconscious mind and the subconscious mind and manifestation and all these other kinds of things. And he said, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something completely different, something that very few people know about and even fewer talk about if they do know about it. And so he started me on this journey that I was actually on for just about 30 years, start to finish, 35 years maybe, in search of a way to be able to tap those power sources and be able to play what I now call the new business game, where you really do get to win. You really do get to not just have it all, but go beyond it. And I discovered a way to do that. I discovered how to open a gateway, a portal, if you will, into tapping the power in this invisible world, and a way to get access to it, to what I call dynamite, the lies and the illusions and the stories and all of the factors that limit us and restrict us and appear to be impacting us beyond our control from outside of us, and how to be able to tap a new source of power, a new source of wisdom, strategy, whatever you might want to call it, in order to bust loose forever from the old business game and begin to play the new business game, which will amaze and delight you. And there's so much more information on this website beneath this video screen and on the tabs above that will tell you more about everything I've talked about here. The old business game, the challenges, why you can't win it if you keep playing the way you were taught, the new business game, how to open this portal, how to leap through it, how to expand to the point that you start to play this new business game, and what the new business game is all about. So at this point, I'm going to let you go. If anything that I've said here resonates with you, strikes a chord, interests you, intrigues you, then I invite you again to look beneath this video screen and read the text that's there, and take a look at the tabs at the top of the page, particularly the Resources tab, to discover more about the new business game, what busting loose from the business game really means, and what it can mean to you specifically for your business or career. Thanks for visiting, and enjoy the rest of the website.